Hey, hello, what's up? How are you doing? Welcome into this week's episode of the Geek Garage Podcast. I am, of course, Ted, joined as always by show founder David. How are you, David?
Hello, Ted. I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. Also, I'm a little tired because I'm an old, but that's neither here nor there.
Yes. It's also Christmas weekend? No, the weekend before Christmas.
Yeah.
And so that just also leads to exhaustion in general. So
Yeah, not for me. No family, no kids. So I'm gonna have a good week. I don't know about anybody else. I'm gonna go to the movies like 5 times, so that's good. But you enjoy getting up at like 4 a.m. because your children are running around like, rabid chimpanzees. Enjoy that.
yeah, well, here's the thing. They stay up really late and then sleep in the morning. So as a night owl, like it tends to work in my favor. My wife, not so much, but
For now,
that's neither here nor there.
your kids are still young. Wait till they're like 10. You're gonna want to shoot them in the face.
Yeah.
We-
Well, then it's a little bit more easy to validate like drop kicking them at that age. So,
Yeah, if they're 10, they can fight back. That's totally fair.
Wow. Okay.
You
Well,
can reach the top shelf of the cabinet. That's old enough for 3 rounds heavyweight boxing.
we're ready to go with Jack Johnson and Tom O'Leary right over here waiting for you.
That's right.
Yeah.
But
All
no,
right.
all jokes about beating your children aside, we are going to do a quick episode today. This is number 42, I think, if David can
Yep.
keep count. So that's a big ask, but we're going to hope he's right.
It is
This
42.
is sort of a look ahead to 2020,
Mm-hmm.
episode 4220, Blaze It. And we're just going to talk about sort of the state of the podcast, what to expect from us in 2020, and also mention from the top that we're going to be taking a little well-deserved break because of the holidays for I think a week, maybe 2, David.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. It's definitely at least a week, if not maybe a week and a half or so.
Again, well-deserved because we all have stuff going on. I've got work. David's got a family and work.
Right. And plus, it's the holidays. So,
Sure, I had to look at the calendar. I didn't know that, but yeah. So it'll be a quick episode, just something to wet your whistle and tide you over, and then also, like I said, something to look forward to in 2020.
yep.
So this does have some changes to the podcast. Nothing too crazy. We are still going to be bringing you mediocre content several times a year.
Indeed.
So the first thing, I guess, to cover is that I'm going to actually make an effort in 2020 and become more involved with the podcast as a whole, and not just talk about movies. One of the things that we have learned over the last couple of months, particularly in meeting and listening to a lot of people, is that we need to get some sort of normalcy to the episodes where it's
Mm-hmm.
if I'm going to be part of the show, I need to actually be part of the show and not just show up to talk about movies and then to belittle David's opinions about other movies.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely the plan. Ted is going to be on a little bit more frequently than we've come accustomed to, which is perfectly fine with me. He's been okay in his capacity. He's been not bad enough to make me want to like jump in oncoming traffic, but good enough to like want me to invite him back onto the show. So yeah, he's gonna help out more, and be on more episodes, and I'm pretty stoked for it.
Wow, what an introduction that was! Really,
Well, I mean, if you're gonna like do the classic undersell slash self-deprecation intro for the podcast, then I mean, I figured I might as well reciprocate and
eh,
throw you under the bus that would have a really hard time flattening you. Yes,
and
fat
a fat
joke.
joke.
How
Fat
gauche?
joke. Anyway, moving right along. Yeah, I'll be involved more. So expect my self-deprecation and mean-spirited opinions to make even more appearances
Yes,
and
I'm
to
excited.
branch out. So that's going to be good.
Hmm. Yeah. So in addition to that, we're definitely making an attempt to release episodes more regularly and frequently. This was, it was a thing we talked about a lot, this past year in 2019. Whenever you did get episodes out of us, that we had a hard time producing episodes. I was in the middle of a couple of different life changes, and insanity ensued. So it just, in general, made recording difficult. But like I've said before, we're finally in a situation where we can record episodes on a frequent basis, on a regular basis. So things are pretty much back to normal, and they are definitely looking up, and we're very excited for what's to come for everything in 2020. Just and things just in general, we're really excited for.
Yes, and speaking of a more frequent release schedule, or more regular release schedule, I should say,
Hmm.
we're also going to attempt to put out a more diverse array of episodes. So, what that means is essentially one of the taglines that we've used, so to speak, over the last couple of months is that if it's celebrated at a comic convention or something similar to that, then we either have an episode or we want to have an episode on it. So, with that in mind, we're going to branch out, as it were, and we're going to cover some things that maybe we've only had one episode on in the past. We're going to have more regularly scheduled content around those genres or those mediums. So, things like anime or analog gaming, so tabletop gaming. David's been
Yep.
kind of heavy into the video game episodes the last
Hmm.
couple of months, getting a start with that. So, just kind of that same thing, but like I said, just for different mediums or different topics.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Over the last 3 years that the podcast has been running, we have for certain run the gamut of um, geek and nerd culture as a whole, and that's something that I'm particularly proud of. That we haven't stuck to just one or two different things, and it's one of our goals for 2020 to keep the ball rolling with that, but in a much bigger, better way where, we can frequently like cycle episode topics, like have regular D&D or analog gaming episodes, every 2 months or so, or and the same for like digital gaming, same for cosplay, anime, so just like Ted said, we're gonna attempt to have basically just not do movie episodes like every other week. So our listeners and audience don't want to like shoot themselves in the fucking face. So,
To be
um,
fair, it's not the movie episodes that are making me want to do that. It's just us in general.
sure. Well, I
So,
mean,
yeah.
I wanted to forget that might be like a thing that's
Yeah,
happening
yeah,
for a
we
second.
embrace honesty on this podcast.
All right. Well,
But with that in mind, we are going to stick to not a set in stone sort of schedule, but like we kind of talked about, something that's a little more rotational. So, an example would be something like digital gaming, movies, anime, cosplay, tabletop gaming, a potpourri type episode where it could be any of those, or it could be a guest.
or we could actually talk about potpourri.
Nobody wants that, David. And then we repeat that cycle. So again, that's not going to be like, hey, on January 5th, we're going to put out a video game episode, and then on January 12th, it's going to be the movies, and so on and so forth for the whole year. But again, that just gives us a reason to stick to some variety, which is the spice of life, as they tell me.
Yes,
Trying to make this into a Dune reference, and it's just there's nothing coming to me, but the spice must flow.
you're doing great.
Yeah, I'm doing all right.
Yeah,
Mediocre at best.
mediocre.
Yes. One last note about episodes is that we are going to inject two new, I guess, sequences, you might say, or pieces into each episode that we do.
Segments,
What's that?
segments,
Segments.
maybe.
That's the word I was looking for. Thank you, David.
Yes.
You're good for something, by God.
I am. Every once in a while, I show up and I contribute something of equal or lesser value.
See, this is why
Okay.
I don't give you compliments, because it went right to your fucking head. Now you think you're somebody. You're going to act like people now, and I can't be having that shit.
Yeah. Well. Okay. Who's got the recording studio? Okay.
You mean your den?
Sure. I felt so defeated in my response. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's the size of Harry Potter's bedroom. Mm.
it's not that big.
True.
Anyway, two fucking shit. There are two new segments we're going to be introducing into each episode as we move into 2020. The first is that we're going to have a few quick news items of things that are contemporary goings on that have happened basically since the last episode was released. we're not going to get out in the weeds and do a lot of crazy updates and minor updates. But if there's any big movie announcements or show announcements or con announcements or even just announcements about the podcast, we'll go into those and cover those.
Right.
And also, for those of you that are, I guess, longtime listeners, so to speak, we will also be having our shit that doesn't suck segment, or
Mm.
what we uh, consider recommendations. Those will
Yep.
be on every episode as well, because David and I sat down and we were like, it doesn't really make sense to just do recommendations on movie episodes, because we just,
Right.
you know, we both read, we both have a lot of a variety of interests that we could recommend things on and tie them back into the podcast. So we're going to spread those out. They won't all be movie recommendations. Mine probably will, because I don't really do anything except work, bitch at David, and watch movies. But we'll see how it goes. So those will be
Yeah.
a couple of things that we'll add into the episodes that I think will be good.
One possibility of a direction we could go with this is for the contemporary news and recommendations, they could be like curtailed to whatever we're discussing on that particular episode. So if it is a movie episode, it could be movie news and movie recommendations. If it's a comic book episode, it could be like comic book recommendations and news in the comic book world. So it could go kind of like that, which would definitely make sense. So that's definitely a thing that could happen. Hey everyone, it's David from the Geek Garage podcast. I just wanted to take a quick second to tell you about our new partnership with Everyday Superhero Training. They are a gym in Nashville, Tennessee that you should definitely check out. The gym is ran by Julian and Lydia, who make up the Everyday Superhero Training team. And what Everyday Superhero Training is a nerd-centric, holistic, personal training and group fitness wellness program taught through the modalities of RPGs, video games, comic books, superheroes, and pop culture nerdiness. Just a few things that they have to offer is a free digital magazine that covers everything that they nerd out about, and it is delivered straight to your email inbox. They have a soon-to-be-famous Mission Quest fitness RPG, Nerd Skills, which is a class that uses specific training tactics to help you improve at activities you already enjoy, superhero tinted group classes, personal training integrated into every level of membership, a supportive and positive environment that wants to hear more about your current D&D campaign or show that you're currently binging, and then how much you can bench. So please support Julian and Lydia by visiting everydaysuperherotraining.com for more info on this amazing gym. Thank you.
We do have some other big plans for 2020 that are not specific to types of episodes or the scheduling of episodes. So David, do you want to start with some of those other new changes?
Yeah, sure. We are unveiling our Patreon tiers, and we're going to start taking on donors. So if you are into like uh, contributing to local artists and like giving them money so they can pursue their dreams and like break even in certain things, because like podcasting, it's relatively cheap, but we have started doing a few things that like cost money, such
Yeah,
as like going to
some of them a lot.
conventions. Right. Yeah, like going to conventions, doing some paid advertising with Google and Facebook and whatnot, and YouTube, and just like the buttons and all that. It all costs money, and we're both like, we're not rich, we're not poor either, but like
Yeah.
the plan the plan is to basically like at least break even, so we can like fund our trips to conventions, so we can keep on doing those things, because like we recognize that it was very beneficial for us and for fans to like have a chance to meet us in person if they have heard of us before, but if they haven't, it gives them a chance and us a chance to like connect face to face. It's just very valuable, we've
Sure.
discovered. So I'm still in the middle of kind of putting together the tiers, but those will be available very early in the new year. So definitely be on the lookout for those. And it's not going to be crap that you don't give a shit about.
Well,
It's going
it might
to
be.
I conducted a poll not too long ago. You probably saw the link for it on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. But I polled a bunch of people to see what our listeners would be interested in having um, for awards or prizes or whatever you want to call it. And so that's kind of what I'm basing things off of, or basing the tiers off of, is what it seems like people would actually want to have in return for being a official supporter. So definitely be on the lookout for those going into the new year.
Yeah, and we're always open to suggestions for different things for
Yep.
the Patreon.
Yes.
I have very few hard no's. So if there's something you want us to do that's just absolutely absurd, there's a very good chance that I can be bought. I'm just gonna float that idea out there, and you do whatever you want with it. In addition to the Patreon, as David mentioned, we do have plans to attend some more conventions this year,
Yep.
or I guess next year, technically in 2020, this upcoming year, I should say. The first of those, or at least the first one so far, is EvilCon in March in Evansville, Indiana. I unfortunately do not think I'll be able to make it to that because one of my friends has decided to ruin his life and get married, and I apparently have to be there for that. So, yeah, I think I would much rather, well, Indiana marriage ceremony. This is a tough one. I don't really want to be at either, but I have to be at the marriage ceremony.
Well, I mean, it's your friend, and I think that's what friends do. I'm not
Mm.
one hundred
If he
percent
listens to
sure.
this episode and hears that, I'll make it out of it. We'll see how it goes.
I mean, like it's. I mean, if you're passing up the opportunity to go to Evansville, Indiana, for this convention, knowing how well GalaxyCon went, then he must be a friend.
He is.
So
He's a very solid dude and has been
yeah,
a big, he's been a very good friend of mine for a long time. So I'm
yeah,
happy to see him get married.
yeah,
Despite
and
my distaste for marriage as an institution.
yeah, and
Uh,
I
but
definitely wouldn't ask you to make the decision of going with me or staying with him. I'm definitely glad that you chose to
this isn't a divorce,
stick
man.
here.
I'm not a child who has to pick a parent to live with. It's fine. It's not that serious. But other than Evansville, EvilCon in March, we have tentative plans to be at. Is it MomoCon? Is that how
Yep,
you pronounce that, David? In
yep,
Atlanta, is it May
yeah. It's
21st?
another both EvilCon and MomoCon. They're both anime conventions. And just
Primarily.
as an aside, if you haven't heard of EvilCon, it's not an evil convention. If you couldn't put two and two together, it is just short for Evansville, so evil. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they are
It's
both.
funny. It's a pun.
Yes, it's very
Play
punny.
on words.
It's a big hat. That's why it's funny. It's a big hat. It's bigger than a normal hat.
Mm.
But yeah, MomoCon is or so. Uh, Ted, did you say when EvilCon was?
Yeah, it's March 20th to the 22nd. I said
Okay.
that like 4 times. You have
Okay, cool. Well, you know I don't listen when you talk, so fuck right off. But anyways, yeah, MomoCon, it's May 21st through 24th. That one is in Atlanta, and we haven't been to either of these, and but we've heard great things. We've heard MomoCon is like gigantic. Granted, it's definitely not Dragon Con gigantic, but uh, I've heard nothing but great things about it, as well as EvilCon. So we're excited. And then we do have the Nashville Comic Con coming up as well.
Yeah, that's a new one. That's never happened before.
Right. As,
We're
as far as we know, it's happening. They had a Kickstarter to
mm,
try and fund it, and they were successful. So I'm assuming that things are good.
yeah.
We
I'm going
were
to assume some positive intent that wasn't just a way to get money out of people on Kickstarter. So we'll see. But
right.
I believe David did submit the application to be involved in that. So we'll see how that goes. We'll keep everybody posted on that.
Yep.
That is in when is that?
That is the last weekend in May. I
Oh
believe
my
it's
god, I'm
the.
having back to back these fucking things. Jesus Christ! All right,
Yeah,
I'll need
it
to brew an
is.
extra pot of coffee.
Yeah, it's 30th and 31st.
Of course, there are also some other conventions and other things we're talking about for the podcast that we'd like to get to. As always, scheduling is a big priority for us, so they may not work out, but they might. We always have a lot of big plans. David is a dreamer, and I am a miserable pessimist piece of shit, so it balances out very nicely.
Yes, I am the existentialism to his nihilism.
Nope, that's not even a little bit. We're gonna talk about this after the podcast because
That's not accurate. I thought that was
that's
pretty
so
accurate.
wrong. I don't even know where to. It's not even wrong. That's how incorrect you were.
Wow, I have
Yeah,
never been so called out in my entire life.
that is maybe the most offensive thing you've ever said to me. I have to really think about it, but it's damn near the top of the list.
All right,
I think
well,
we're going to sign out because David's about to get a woke lesson. So
yeah, I'm just gonna shut off my phone so I don't have to hear this fucking shit.
I can help. I will drive to your house. Yeah, enjoy your 2 weeks and not having to deal with our bullshit or however
Right.
it is.
Yes,
Have a
yes,
happy holiday season, whatever you celebrate, if you celebrate anything. God help you if you have children. And we'll talk to you in the new year and the new decade.
yes, we'll see you next year. Ha 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 ha.
I don't know why I bother with you, David. I really don't.
I don't know. Be kind, stay geeky, eat lots of cheesecake, bitches.
Do the movie thing, please.